You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales. Streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
Let me tell you, Des, the X-Men 97, I hate it. I hate it. Find out why I hated it. You're watching the Geek Chat on The Experience. Hey everyone, welcome into the Geek Chat. You're watching us on The Experience. I'm Rich.
I'm Des.
And today we've got a couple new number ones, one I really liked. And the X-Men 97 dropped 2 episodes, and I hated it. I just hated it. You know what I hate? I hate that it's 10 episodes.
Should be longer.
Yeah. All right.
Love it when we were kids and we got like 24 episodes. Now we only got 10. At least give us 12. Like split it in half. You know, let's do this.
So you're watching us on The Experience, which is on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, share, and then head to comicshoppingexperience.com and you can sign up on the mailing list and see when shows are on. There's a show on every day. Different selling shows, different talk shows, some thought shows, some geek shows, but every day on The Experience, there's something for you. And welcome in, Barlord. Hello.
Yes, hello. And if you don't know or don't recognize where I'm coming to you live from, I'm coming to you live from the Rock of Eternity. Yes, from Shazam, better known as Captain Marvel. So yes, it's pretty cold in here. You know, lot of
drafty,
stone, lot of marble. No old wizards though. No old wizard.
Well,
that's your house.
You're married to one.
No, I'm talking about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we both got crazy old wizards. So.
Yes, live from the crap stand, the beardy crap stand full of my Transformers.
Oh, silly.
Right.
Yes, welcome in, Barlord, and welcome into everyone who's coming in. And Dan 100, thank you so much for coming as well. Please tell your friends that we're on live right now. Bring them in. Hi, Paul. Make them sit.
Hey, Paul.
Make them listen. Make them watch. Make them like and subscribe and share because we want this to grow. If anything that we say piques your interest, please write it in the comments. We'll most likely respond to it. We love the back and forth with our audience. So please take the time and comment with us. You know, let us know your thoughts.
Hey, Phil.
Hi, Phil. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about X-Men 97, and we're going to give our review of episodes 1 and 2. Whoa, where to begin? It's like the 90s all over again. I'm like, wow, it just looks better. It has better animation. That's the only difference, you know, is that the animation is quite amazing.
They changed the intro as well.
Not very much though.
So they added known mutants into the end when it was like Juggernaut and them running against the X-Men.
Huh?
Emma's included now. Like they changed that lineup.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I thought adding Barlord was one of the few that wasn't impressed by the trailer. Okay, yep. Opinions are great, and we love to hear everyone's opinions. I loved it. I thought the intro adding various different people who were new. They added
got a title card.
Got a title card.
Got a title card.
Just the way that it all ran together. I thought the music, while more up to date, was still classic enough to make you have that feeling, the feeling of the show. You know, they definitely were able to capture that, you know, 90s nostalgia, but still make it look fresh and new.
Yeah.
But they really hit the ground running. Like there is a lot of stuff that happens in this first 2 episodes that really set up the future of the show, and we're going to talk about it. So, Rich, I know you have some points that you want to bring up.
So I just want to say the first episode was really the getting to know you again. It was that you haven't seen this person in so long, and oh my God, so was I. Hey, Kenneth.
Hi, Kenneth.
I also was squealing, and I was like, that's this person, and that's this person, and that's this person. And Coog was like, "Can you shut up?" I'm just
So what we did is before we started, I think it was Valent Comics has basically a 10-minute like what you need to know coming into X-Men 97. So we sat down and I made him watch that to kind of give him a rough rundown about what happened in the 5 seasons. I think it's 5 seasons
yeah.
of the original X-Men animated series. And so it was a very, concave, small, little, compact thing. But I think it was good enough to get you to know where you are
hmm
and to get the ground running.
Yeah. And I feel like that first episode really did that.
Yes.
But for me, it was the second episode that they set this season into motion.
Yeah.
And I just want to go through some of the different references of plot points. So we start with Uncanny X-Men 200. This is
Okay.
from September of 1985. It's the trial of Magneto. So if we could get the cover up, JD, that would be amazing. We see Magneto. Thank you, by the way. We see Magneto in that costume that they have adapted to the 97. I love this costume. He didn't stay in it very long.
I don't think he'll stay in it very long in this one either.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
So,
The almost shoulder length gloves, the giant M, the
yes.
purple. Like he was serving in the in the show.
So he looked amazing. They did a great job with him.
So if any of you have ever watched like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or JoJo's, he was giving Dio. If you don't know who Dio is, I'll have to send you a picture of Dio because he was serving like Dio. He looked like the main villain from Stardust Crusaders. If I remember that, I think that's the one. Not Diamonds Are Unbreakables. Yeah, Stardust Forever. It just, he looked like him. The way he was speaking, his mannerisms, his long hair, everything about him was just, he was just very confident, very strong, and just looked like a force team reckon with.
Yeah. So your favorite?
I'm sorry.
No, go.
No, saying another thing that I really liked is how they displayed his powers. Whenever he was using his mind to control magnetism, like he would put up the force fields and his hands would glow. But whenever he was controlling metal, he did the weird things, the Aquaman, the circles. And I thought that was really kind of a cool additional display of his powers.
So in this issue, the Strucker twins, your favorites.
I love them. Damn those Nazis.
And the X-Men have to, fight to save. Fun fact about this issue, though, and what they mimicked in the cartoon was Maddie goes into labor in this issue. Yep. So I liked how they tied Jean. Is it Jean? We don't know. I think it's Jean because they made sure to show you her using her powers.
No, there you go. That's Dio.
Wow.
That's Dio.
That hair.
Yeah, that's Dio. And the way he was speaking and talking, that's Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Wow.
Thank you, JD.
Thank you, JD. So I think that part was a little interesting that they Bo DeMayo, the now fired writer of episode 2, I feel did a great job taking X-Men history and putting it in.
Yes.
So the next image is going to be from the Uncanny X-Men Annual number 17 from April of 1993, which introduces the Executioner.
Yeah, and the thing is, when he popped in the scene, see, I thought it was when they're talking Friends of Humanity, I thought it was the Purifiers. I thought it was the Purifiers but they were further down.
Correct.
So that's what I was thinking. Okay, so they're really sticking it to like the 90s kind of villains and the 90s kind of core. So I was like, okay, that's really cool because Friends of Humanity have been around for a very long time. And so that's why I was thinking, okay. And then the Executioner was brought in the 90s as well. So I love that they're really sticking with the 90s era villains, costuming, and or before 90s, era type type costumes and stuff like that, sensibilities. I really liked that, because I had totally forgot this character until I saw him, and I was like, wait a minute, he looks very familiar. And then you sent that picture. I was like, oh my god, that is him. And I was
Yeah,
like, whoa.
I remember this issue because it's Jason Pearson,
Oh,
and I love his
fantastic.
art. So this character's always stuck on my head. So in the comics, he was an ex-FBI agent who used the suit to punish mutants that he felt weren't getting the justice they deserve, like if they hurt someone, which again mimics the Friends of Humanity. But with this suit originally was a bunch of alien species that they had collected. And in this, it's the guy. I don't think they ever named him.
Yeah, they didn't. At least I think they did. He built it out of Sentinel technology.
Right, in this.
And that's what I thought was really cool.
Well, yeah, it's cool how they're using the Sentinel technology. And that's why I thought that first episode really did a great job of going, remember us.
Yeah.
And then the second episode was like, here we go.
Yeah. And the designs of the original Master Mold, I guess that was from the not Scott Lang. Oh, what was his name? His last name was Lang, but he was the guy that took over it from Bolivar Trask. And so he was the one that brought in, and brought in the Master Molds and all that stuff like that. So even though having it be a kind of a homage to like the classic Sentinel look, I thought that was really fun. And all like how the whole fight scenes, how they were animated, all of that looked great. Scott using his beams to slide across the floor, because they are concussive beams. People always say that it's a fire-based beam. It's not. It's pure force. There's no singeing or anything from it. It is pure force coming through his eyes. And the way he was using it to slide across the floor, and even though he was using
he was
using it because like in the olden days, that's how he fired it. He had to touch it.
Yep.
And like that's gone nowadays, but like the fact that he was still using that, it's like those attentions to details were fantastic.
We noticed that as well, because when he first came in and Roberto was like, who are you? And he's like, he touches it. I was just like, oh my god. Dan talked about it trolling Gail Simone. I wonder why.
Because there's I think it's Dan Booth, if I remember correctly, it's Dan Booth and Gail Simone. Correct me if I'm wrong, JD, but I know Gail Simone has a back and forth with someone about.
It's Mark Brooks. I follow that. Yeah.
About if Cyclops's are his eye beams are fire based or heat based, or if they're force based, and it's force based. So.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So another little thing that they drew inspiration from was Uncanny X-Men number 274 from January of 91. Nope, wrong one. It's the one with Rogue and Magneto.
Yeah, on that one.
This
one.
Yes.
I was very shocked about this one, because this was a fantastic issue. Jim Lee on his game. This was Rogue and Magneto in the Savage Land. Zaladane is in this issue.
Well, until the end.
Well, still fantastic. This is when Magneto and Rogue actually had their they did love side butt. They had their romance, their side romance. Speaking of side butt, they had a side romance in this issue, which they kind of talked about here and there, ongoing throughout like the early 2000s, before they kind of solidified that Rogue and Gambit were together. But yes, but you might not have known this. Actually, Magneto and Rogue were a item. So
until he kills Zaladane, and she's horrified that he still has his murderous ways. And then, so we talk about spoilers here, guys, and I just thought this part. So we go back to Uncanny X-Men 185, and in this Public Enemy, it is Gyrich who uses the neutralizer weapon designed by Forge to try to take out Rogue. Rogue, though, and Storm are having a moment. Storm offers Rogue. This is one of the first places we see that Rogue, if offered, could have control over it instead of taking. So Storm offers her the power. Rogue gets out of control. Storm wakes up. Rogue is trying to stop something and takes the shot. Gyrex takes the shot. And this is where we get an amazing run of Storm with no powers. The neutralizer takes away Storm's power. And for a good, I don't know, 5-6 years, she remained unpowered.
Powerless.
And she actually fought Scott for the leadership of the X-Men
to a standstill
with no powers.
No, she beat him.
Well, they're saying that, Maddie helped influence as the Goblin Queen, but I think Storm is and always has been just one of the most powerful characters that Marvel has.
Fantastic.
Not even an X-Men.
Yeah.
A character.
Fantastic character. Great strategist, great leader, great just power set, everything. And when the Sentinel said alert, Omega level mutant,
I was squealed.
I squealed.
I did too.
When she came on board and she just said, that's what I loved about it. What I thought was
Hi Lorena.
What I thought was great about this version of Storm is it's like, I think, and those are all the same voice actors, if you don't know. A lot of them are all the same voice actors that came back to voice his characters again.
Some died.
Yeah, unfortunately. But the one for Storm is the same woman.
Yes.
But the thing that was hilarious was back in the day, she still had that sort of like grandiose, I am Storm. In this one, she knows like who Storm is, and she is really like pushing it to the next level, like really to the next level. That whole scene where the glass hits the sand and turns it into when the lightning hits the sand, turns it into glass, and then she brings a tornado and uses the glass to shred all the Sentinels. Just pure perfection.
Which made what happened in the next episode even more heartbreaking.
Yep. So she lost the executioner shoots her with a modified the rifle that's been modified with the technology that they use to suppress mutant powers. And it's a concentrated blast that actually took her powers away. So they adapted that storyline, which I think is okay. I like the way that they did it. It moves it into continuity. And now we have Storm leaving on a Vision quest. So with that, we're going to get a secondary side story of Storm finding out who she is. And at some point, of course, she's going to rejoin the X-Men. Hopefully
in her leathers,
in a black modified, punk costume. And I would love to see her in Madripoor with Yuriko and all of them, and Wolverine in his patch costume going to help her. Another thing people forget is the X-Men animated series was in the same continuity as the Spider-Man animated series and had guest appearances by the Avengers and the Fantastic Four and all these other people. So we might get to see an animated version of Captain America. If they continue on and Storm goes to Madripoor, we might see Patch, we might see Captain America, we might see Black Widow, we might see Tiger, we might see a whole bunch of people that is in that that's in these cartoons. So like I'm just super excited for what if and what could happen. So great.
And what did you think of the introduction of Mr. DaCosta?
I thought that was fun. It mirrored Jubilee pretty well. Him being a spoiled rich brat made 100% sense. I think what they're doing is, if this is successful, we will be getting a New Mutants cartoon.
Oh my God, I hope.
No. I think it is. I think this is all testing because we've already had Cannonball. They just introduced Robert DaCosta, and I think we're going to get more. You wish 8 was there? I wish 8 was. Oh, E. Gannon Jr. Can you explain a little bit more about that? We would love to. But yeah, I was very much into him being there.
So I thought it was funny. In the first episode, way back when, we had Jubilee, like you said, she was the intro. And in the comic books before that, we had Kitty. So I thought it was really interesting that this time they picked a male as the new intro.
And another person of color as well. Jubilee was, Asian American or Asian, and and now we have Robert Costa, who is Brazilian.
Yeah.
So I do think we will be getting a New Mutants cartoon, and especially what I think is going to happen is depending on the success of the X-Men animated series, we will be getting a New Mutants comic book cartoon series starring either Professor X or Magneto as the headmaster, while the X-Men go off and do much broader things.
That
and
would
that's
be great.
and that's how they're
Season.
that's how they're going to grow their animated line. I swear to God, that's probably what's going to happen. And I think these are all seeds in order to get people jazzed for when X-Men are introduced into the larger MCU, in the live action version of the MCU.
Oh my God, that'd be awesome if they did that. So
the Experience says, do you think possibly Deadpool will end up in the cartoon universe for a minute in Deadpool and Wolverine? See,
that would be...
I don't know, only because Deadpool is sort of a separate thing, and it's a Fox thing, pseudo Fox thing. I know it's all under Disney, so I really hope that they will, but I think that would be a little too convoluted, given that we're getting the original 3 X-Men movie versions. So I'm talking about Halle Berry, Famke Janssen, all those people in the first 3, and our first 4. And then we're getting the new generation with McAvoy and all of them, and all of them are supposed to be cameoing in the movie. I think having a cartoon version of Deadpool might be a little too much, but if we're getting it while he's traveling through a TVA kind of time portal or ultimate dimension or dimension portal, maybe we'll get something like that, like they do in the Spider-Verse. Maybe, but cool. It would be kind of cool. The last thing we want to talk about before we go to our first commercial break is the ending. Okay, when Storm leaves, Morph thinks that she's gonna miss us and she'll come back. And there was a knock on the door. You open it up, and it's Jean Grey pops up, and she's all bloodied and battered and everything. What's going on? Who is it? Do we know? I don't know. I think it's the real Jean Grey. I think the person that had the baby is Maddie, yeah. But Maddie doesn't know that she's Maddie. Maddie just believes that she's Jean Grey.
And I think that's awesome. It would bring Sinister back in, which would then allow Morph his closure with Sinister from what had happened in the first couple of seasons.
And if you're looking at the opening sequences, and it's the Morph sequence, someone in the shadows is running around behind him that Morph is fighting, and I think that's Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, same with the eyes.
With the eyes. So I believe that this is actually, that's the real Jean Grey. Maddie's gonna come in, and it's gonna be this weird thing. Beast's gonna run some tests to be like, oh, they're exact clones of each other, or blah blah blah, and there's gonna be a sting about who's who. The one thing that I'm interested in is to see how they are going to say it happened. Like, how did this happen? And if we're going to get a scene with the Fantastic Four showing up, wouldn't that be cool? But probably not.
No.
But I'm wondering, how did she escape? Did she escape to something? Or what if it is Madeline Pryor who escapes and is trying to tell them about what's going on with Mr. Sinister, and it really was Jean that gave birth? See, there's so many different ways that they could go through with it, that I think is really interesting. And I don't know which way how they're going to do it.
Right.
And the funny thing about it, not about you, I think however they do it after seeing these first 2 episodes, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be interesting, so I'm fine if they take it to a different level,
I'm very excited to see where this goes.
Who do you think it is?
I'm really pissed that we only get 10 episodes.
Who do you think it is, though?
Oh, I think it's Jean. I think you are right. I think it's Jean that was at the door. She managed to escape because she's freaking Jean Grey. She doesn't die. And they even made reference to her not dying. I've said hello to you before, goodbye to you, whatever it was. And I think that somehow Maddie has infiltrated, become Jean. We don't know what happened between the last episode and this episode. These episodes.
It was like half a year, or just about a year.
Well, it has to be 9 months.
That's true.
That's true.
Okay, the one thing about the show that really kind of killed me, that sort of took me out of it, and I was kind of disappointed, was I never got to see. Oh, actually, we kind of did though. We kind of did. We kind of did.
Did what?
When Jean Grey was using Cerebro to read
Yeah.
Eric's mind, and she threw it off. She's like, oh! She fell back. I was like, okay, yeah, we get a Jean Grey moment where she can't handle the mental feedback, and she has to fall over. You know, I was so expecting that, and we got it.
We did.
Yay.
We did. So
one thing also. What did you think about Gambit's half shirt? His not tank top.
His crop top.
His crop top.
His crop top. The metal band crop top. Twitter is having a field day with this. I sent Des this thing of a guy saying about, you think he's gay? You think he's gay? Yes, he had a crop top. He's the one making. So, okay, if you're frying something, why would you want your belly exposed?
Exactly. Like, I get it. You know, you don't have a healing factor. At least I don't think you do. I know you're super, like, you know, athletic and whatnot. But come on, if you're frying stuff, wear a shirt, sir.
Yes.
Like, I get it.
Yes, I do want to say I loved the ending part where Wolverine was in the tree, you know. And Morph kept shooting the chips at him, and then he turns into, and then they tussle. There's a little romance going on there.
I don't think so.
There's a bromance. It's a bromance for sure.
I think it's a bromance. And I think the reason why it's there is it is to mimic, no pun intended,
mimic
Wolverine and Nightcrawler's friendship. I think that's what they're doing.
Well, not only that, not only that, I think it goes to when Morph was left behind, Wolverine was really upset. So it shows a friendship. And I think that on the team at this point, Wolverine really, he likes these people, but I think friendship wise, I think it shows their friendship between Morph.
And when they were driving and she was in pain and she touched his shoulder told him to drive faster, his look, you know, he's such a puppy around Jean Grey. It's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's so crazy. So I'm excited to see what's going on. I hope you all are as well. We're going to be talking about this series more, most likely until all 10 episodes are done. And then we're going to give a 10-issue retrospective about the whole thing. So please stay with us for the next couple of episodes, because we will be talking about this fantastic show. And we really hope that you are enjoying it as well. But
and coming up, new number ones.
So we're going to take a quick break. So please, we'll be right back. So stay with us.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.
My name is Mark Weiss, and I am the founder and president of an organization called Comic Books for Kids. 6 years ago this month, we embarked on a journey of passion and heart. Our goal was to make a difference for children in hospitals and cancer centers. We want to thank our friends for allowing us their support and for providing us with the means to make so many happy with their gracious give to us.
Live from New York. What? Oh, sorry. Live from Cleveland? It's Friday night? It's Friday Night Live! With Nancy McCann. And Ricky. And sometimes Carlos. And featuring boxes and boxes of rare comics. Unique collectibles. Lots of smiles and conversations with new friends. Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited. Friday night from 9 to 11 on The Experience.
Do you remember what it was like when you were a little kid and you got a letter in the mail? Now imagine that letter was filled with information about your favorite shows, pop culture questions, links to things you're going to want to see later, and even sneak peeks at upcoming programming here on The Experience. That's what the EXP mailing list is. Every week, we send you sneak peeks, information, and all of the relevant links for all of the shows you want to see. Sign up now on our website or scan the QR code that's on your screen right now.
Hey everyone, welcome back. You are watching the Geek Chat on The Experience. I'm Rich.
I'm Des.
And speaking of The Experience, we are on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, share, tell your friends about us. Head to Facebook and like the Geek Chat, that's our page. And then head to Comic Shopping Experience, where you can see what's on every day on The Experience. There's shows on every day. So I want to remind everyone about our great Thursday lineup. Our Thursday lineup starts at 8 a.m. with Jam Comics. A couple of great guys on that. Then we have the Dan Wickline Show at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. What's in the Box with Miss Jen? She had some great Spider-Man variants today. She's at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. And then us, the Geek Chat. And then we are followed by Sketch Up with Mog and Mel at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. And in the next segment, I don't know what just happened. In the next segment, I will be letting you know the guests because I have that all ready to go. But first, we have our new number ones.
New number ones. Yeah.
We need a little thing. A little
number ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
First number one is Dawn Runner. Very interesting. Very interesting. It was scripted by Ram V. Art by Evan
Cagle.
Yeah, that's what I think. Cagle. Colors by Dave Stewart. Letters by Atia Berikar. And covers by Evan Cagle.
And then I got the B. The B is really nice.
I didn't see the B cover. Huh.
Yeah, I really like this one. I mean, the main cover is pretty cool too, but
yeah. So
yes,
yes. So as I'm reading this book, I am getting major hints. Like, you know, whenever you sip a tea or a new blend of coffee, if you drink coffee or something like that, and you or wine, and you get hints of various different ingredients to kind of make a new bouquet.
Sure.
This is what this is. At its heart, this is a giant kaiju battle book with like humans and robots battling kaiju in a walled off world. So think Pacific Rim, think Godzilla. I wanted you to think about Pacific Rim a lot more because there's this new type of robot, you know, that's called the Dawn Runner, and the woman in front on the cover is like the daughter of like one of the main like military suppliers who created this new way of interfacing with the robot in order to make the combat potential that much higher. And you know, they're like a century into the future, this giant portal opens up over a certain region of the world, and kaiju fall out of it, I guess. And they humanity built a wall around the area as like a giant ring for the kaiju to fall into, and they battle the kaiju to keep them from coming out and wrecking the world.
And it's televised.
So it's almost like become like a sport because there are the pilots that do these other they're called Iron Lords is the name of the type of mechs that they fight, or Jaegers if you know watch Pacific Rim or like those movies. And she happens just to be the best one. And so you're thinking, as you're going through, it's the number one. So there's a lot of exposition, a lot of letting you know what's going on,
a lot of the history,
a lot
of the past.
Yep. And so I'm thinking, okay, standard kaiju thing that's going on, whatevs. But towards the end of the comic, there seems to be this weird, I don't know, it's this weird melding of two minds, two realities, two timelines.
We don't know. Right.
Something in which the woman is in like a stasis bath. That helps her connect to the giant mech. And so something in the stasis bath or something is warping reality around her. And she is getting the memories of this past person. We're not sure what's going on about it, but there's this thing happening, and it's a really cool interpretation of it, where parts of them are squiggling together, and it's just a really great representation of how like two characters can occupy the same space visually that I really liked. So for me, it's a very by the numbers kind of book up until that end where we get the twist. And I'm okay with that. I think this is how you set up a story and then leave your audience wanting more. It really helped that the artwork is gorgeous. The artwork is amazing. I love it. It's this anime.
It's a little bit of both traditional Western and anime.
But it's just so good. It's just like I really need to find what this
done
before, because I was very blown away by the artwork. Is great. What are your thoughts, Rich?
So reading it, yes, you're right. I'm reading it, and there's really nothing new in the first half of this book. So I don't know if you watched Mech Cadets. It was on,
I read the books.
You read the books. So the cartoon was out, and it was a shortened, the book of Mech Cadet U.
Yeah.
But it has the idea of these kids bond with the giant mechs as well, and they fight monsters. So reading this, I was very like, oh, okay, it's just Mech Cadet U. And then you get to the ending, that twist, and the twist made me go, well, damn it, I need number 2. Like, I'm gonna need to read this book. And Evan Cagle, I'm unfamiliar with his work, but let me tell you, the art, like Des said, the art is just gorgeous. It has weird, it's reminiscent of Stokey, James Stokey.
Yeah.
I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
It's reminiscent of, at times, old Larry Stroman, in the way that when he draws the human figures,
it's elongated.
Some of them are very elongated. At times,
his mech designs are great too.
The mech designs, though, I have to say, the whole Dawn Runner, in action, I was a little confused because
you couldn't see all of it.
You can't see it, and I'm like, where's the head? Like, I collect giant robots that transform into things.
Yeah,
they have heads, and I don't think the head is very pronounced on this.
It is,
but I think they did it on purpose because they want to make it seem like something you haven't read, something that isn't already out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really was that twist, guys. The twist at the end made this, for me, a must read. Just the art, and I gotta know what's going on in the story. I gotta know who is she talking to and why, and what world is this? Exactly. So many questions. This is, I think, I don't want to say the perfect number 1, because you do get that feeling in the beginning of, I've read this before. But I don't know if I wanted more or if I wanted less taken out, like some taken out. But I will say, head to your comic book store and get this book. It's pretty good.
So the next book we're going to talk about is one that Rich put on, and I had no idea what this was or what it is. But I guess Hasbro.
Nope.
No. Listen, I guess Hasbro has a competitor.
Oh, that's what. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Hasbro has a competitor, like Void Rivals and all this other stuff. Well, I think this. How do you pronounce it?
Nacellverse.
So the Cellverse is trying to rival the Void Rivals Energon universe with this, because if you're looking at it right now, uh you might have seen some of these as cartoons, as figures, as action figures in the 80s. So it looks like we have more 80s and kind of early 90s toys coming back for what is it, round 9, 10? So
So a little background: the
please.
Nacellverse is actually owned by the people that did the toys that. What was that series on Netflix? The
Oh,
toys that
the toys that defined us or something like
something
that.
like that. Yes, the person. So they now own all of these properties, and their idea in this Zero is to introduce you through one character all the different properties, and then as the year progresses, this is where I don't like their publishing plan. As the year progresses, we will get 3-issue miniseries starting with Robo Force in April. So what they're doing is they're doing Robo Force April, May, June, Biker Mice from Mars July, August, September, Sectars October, November, December, Power Lords January, February, March. That is the stupidest. Just from a fan's perspective, I'm not talking retailer. I'm putting my fan hat on. Give me a number one each week. Give me a number one. And then the next month, give me the number twos. Why should I have to wait for October and January for the two I want to read? I'm going to forget. I don't know.
Exactly. You're gonna forget.
That's just me as a fan. As a retailer, that's a stupid publishing move because you've given me this Zero and I'm going to sell it to my customers. And then maybe they'll remember that they wanted to read something next October. No. So let's get this over with. The writer of all these was Melissa Flores. The artists for the first story was Ramat Kondoko. The second one was Roald Marcelius. Francis Portola did the third story, and Diogenes Neves did the fourth story. And if you remember his name, Desmond, he drew New Mutants a decade ago.
Yep. So hey, everything old is new again. As long as you can draw it, you can probably find someone to publish it. The thing about this that I thought was interesting was all of those artists are the series regulars for all of
Correct.
those titles. So I thought that was really kind of cool because you're getting a taste of their art
And what it's going to look like.
and what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest, they all were very similar to each other, which I thought was kind of cool, if not a bit samey. And I really wish that there would be a little bit more of a differentiation between the art styles, because then you feel like you're getting something unique in each of the series. Like Biker Mike from Mars, you can possibly go with a little bit of a grittier kind of style, and with Power Lords you can go something with a little bit more superhero-ish and stuff like that. And I think they're a little too samey, because when I was flipping through them and reading them, one thing I did like was how the story flowed together really well, and it seemed very organic. But the problem was they all again looked way too samey. So I really wanted for them to be a little different. I know they probably can't, because these are trying to be very all ages, and so they're trying to go with a style that is much more accessible. But at the same time, I'm like, something more. Yeah. So Make Two says, just curious, but are you a digital comics fan, or do you prefer printed comics, or both? It seems heavy readers would benefit from the digital subscriptions. Okay, we'll take a little side story, and we'll talk to you about that. So, I am a fan of both. I really do both. I have read digital comics. I have a Shonen Jump subscription, so I read a lot of my manga through the Shonen Jump app. I think it's a lot more economical as well as spatial because I can't collect all of them. I wish I could show you my garage. It's filled with
With comic
boxes.
books, yep.
And I'm just a collector. See, Rich is a retailer, so he has like warehouses full of shit. So like I can't imagine carrying tons and tons of books in a manga for manga style. Now for comic books, like for comic books, floppy comics, 22-page comics, I buy them physically because I'm a classic OG physical comic collector, and I just haven't made the transition to a fully digital library. One, because I really like going to a comic book store on Wednesdays to get my books. That's what I like to do, and it's fun, and that's tradition for me. There's a tradition and a ritual that is put in with that, and I think sometimes people don't realize that when they say, "Oh, just read it digitally," but at the same time, space is a premium, and then I'm happy that I live in a place where I have space to have comics. Like I have a garage, so I can put my comics in there. So, but for me, that's for me. And I know that if we were to all go digital, comic book stores would die out. And I know that's happening right now, but I just think that they are a necessity. I feel that they are a necessity that we should continue to keep alive. Rich, you can come from two perspectives because you are a comic book retailer as well as a comic book collector. So why don't you put on your retail hat and see which one you support?
So first I want to say Lorena has a subscription for DC Marvel Comixology. She likes both. Nothing beats the actual comic. I'm the type that smells any book in my hand. There is something about cracking open one of my uncanny X-Men's from the 80s and getting that smell. There is nothing that beats that smell for me. A comic book and the old newsprint and ink is a definite smell I love.
I mean, that's your house in general, right?
That's
there.
my house in
that
general.
Smell.
Yes. I'm 187 and I'm set in my ways. So I like print. I am not a digital fan at all. Like at all. I have to read. I don't have to read anything, but when DC sends or Image sends PDFs, I get to read their product and see if I want to order more, see if I want to recommend it. And I have to say, I don't, as someone who reads for pleasure, I don't want to sit and read it on a computer. I don't, I generally, you have to, some of the pages are widescreen, some pages I want to, like, if I'm reading, I can, really look at a panel and I can control where I'm going without having to try to do it on my mouse or whatever.
You just zoom in and stuff.
Yeah, and you got to zoom it. So, and the other thing I don't like about the digital prints is sometimes the art isn't as clear as
the resolution.
Yes. So for me, I'm always going to be paper, and I really hope that they keep trying to make a stab at digital comics, and somehow it just isn't. It might be a new generation's way, but the old people aren't dead yet, so we're still going to get some print.
Yes, and I think that the AR technology, the augmented reality technology that they're adding into comic books, I've read those, and I think that they're fun. If a bit gimmicky, they really remind me of foil covers and stuff like that.
I love
covers. But whatever they're going to bring that into, the marketplace, it probably won't happen for a while.
Right.
The experience says once we get digital paper, probably be more popular. See, I don't know about digital paper, my friend. That's a bit much. Like, we only have so many digital trees, and I want to save them. So
yes. Real quick, I just want to go back to the Nacelverse. Two of the things why I wanted you to read this was because if you were a reader of advanced age, DJ or JD, please throw up the Power Lords image. If you were a reader of advanced age, you saw this on the back covers of a lot of comic books. So I knew all of. I think I had that. I can't. I probably had that figure.
I did not have any of these figures.
You did not. So let's
Hell
go to the
no.
next one. I actually had the Sectors one. You put your hand.
Isn't that your hand?
You put your hand in that, and those are his legs. And it has a motorized wing, so you would turn it on, and the wings would flap, and you would just take
Oh
him
my
around.
lord.
I had that.
That's probably your hand, right? That's your hand. Like, no.
So
I am not that guy. I am not that guy.
When
Those
I
things freaked me out.
Really?
No, thank you.
When I
No.
saw that they were in this comic book, I was like, okay, I got to read it.
No, I was a Jason the World Warriors. That was as organic as I was going to get. Jason the World Warriors.
I was not part of that world.
Oh yeah,
I never read or played with any of those toys.
Yeah, because you hate vegetables. Anyway, make two awesome answers, and thank you for your time answering.
Yeah,
of course, anytime. That's again, we review comics, and if we love to review comics, but if you have a discussion point, you want us to get our opinion on them, we definitely will take time to do that. Yeah. And if we don't get to the comics, that's fine. We really want to be about our community and the people that we're talking to. Yeah. And I think that's what makes this fun for us, because we have been comic book fans for
centuries,
many moons. And we do this for fun. And it's fun talking to all of you. So yeah, if you have questions, we'll do our best to answer them. But we must remember, this is our opinions, and it does not reflect upon the experience or anyone else. It's just our opinions about these things that we love, comic books, and it's in the various forms that it takes in popular media. So just keep that there. So we are going to talk about one more comic before we go to our break, and that is Star Wars Visions #1. Not the Jango. Well, you can talk about Jango Fett. No. We'll go through both of them real quick.
Okay.
I want to say the Jango Fett only because I think this was the best Star Wars comic to have come out recently, and I think that this was better than the last one we reviewed, which was the Mace Windu. Something about Jango Fett, Boba Fett, the Fetts in general, just have really good. I don't know, or maybe it's just a bounty hunter or something. I thought the art was good, the story was good. We got within the first, this is how you set up a comic where you have tension. There's a heist, and Boba Fett has to find these people. There's a Gamora type character that's going out trying to kill people. And then there's this other human character who seems like a pushover or a Gambit type, but he's actually a badass. I really enjoyed this comic, and I think that I'm honestly going to pick it up. It's before all the craziness that happened. It's in the New Republic age, or sorry, the New Republic age. So you got Yoda and all them. It's right before the Clone Wars and all that. So it's in a time frame that I enjoy. So, and it's not a Jedi. It's not a Jedi story, and I think this is why I really enjoyed it.
I did not.
Yeah,
I did not.
I didn't know what you're talking about.
There was one panel that completely took me out of the comic, and I was done at this point.
What was that?
It was when they were showing this woman, and they did so much detail in making her face look realistic.
Oh.
And all the characters behind her look like a cartoon. It was. I did not, and I like this artist. I did not.
So the writer was Evan Sachs. The artist was Luke Ross. Color artist was Nolan Woodward, and the letter was VC's Joe Caramagna. I have to disagree with you. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. Next story, please, sir. It was Visions. So this is a one and done. Another one that I really liked. If you watched Star Wars Visions on Disney Plus, you need to watch them. And
season 2 was
I'm amazing. So bad at it. I need to watch season 2 because this character is from season 1, and he is a Jedi who, it's a Japanese mythos or sensibilities, I guess, or art, a manga artist, and he is traveling around collecting red lightsabers from evil Jedi, for Sith, basically. And he is this is how he gets his R2 unit, and he adopts his R2 unit from evil Sith who was in hiding that he fought to a standstill. The action scenes are phenomenal, just really good.
This was a gorgeous book.
Mostly black and white, but
Yes.
the red lightsabers, just the color contrast and the light and the dark, beautiful, just fantastic.
Yes.
The story and art was by Takashi Okazaki, and the English translation was Aki Anyagi, and the lettering was VC's Ariana Mar, and the cover artist was Takashi Okazaki.
Yes, the line work in this, just spectacular. This is why I love print comics, because I can sit and just savor the panels, and I did. I took a little bit of extra time. The line work, it was funny when I opened it up. I was like, oh, I didn't realize it was going to be black and white, and then I was like, oh, when you saw the lightsaber light up. And I love Sith. I love.
Of course you do.
I do. I loved season 2 with a lot of the Sith stories. So yeah, this is like he said, it's a one and done. I would say pick this up if you're a Star Wars fan, if you're a manga fan who likes Star Wars.
Yeah,
this is for you.
And I missed the last one, which was a Peach Momoko, and she did all of it. And I really want to go back and pick that up to see her version of the Star Wars vision, because I don't know. I really hope that they do more of these. I know that they did.
Oh yeah,
so I hope they do more of these with more manga artists. I think this is a great way to get manga artists into a more American mainstream. Although I know there's a lot of folks who read manga now in America. So a lot of them are already becoming sort of superstars in their own right, and I just really believe that this is a fantastic way to add more people.
Yeah.
So, but yes, Jabroni Chief, it does look awesome,
The
story is awesome as well. So it is a duel between the wandering Ronin Jedi and a Sith master. So, but the way they fight is really cool, and there's a scene where they're fighting and they fall off this cliff and he's in the water, and the evil Sith has the high ground, so to speak. And he's like, well, how can you beat me? Can you not swim? Ha ha ha. And then the Ronin ignites his lightsaber and he puts it in the water, and it causes all the steam to come up that obscures the Sith's vision. And then they come down at each other, and it's just beautiful. Just beautiful. I thought it was really good. So if you're looking for something to read that's a quick one and done, you should really check it out.
Star Wars Visions.
Yeah. So that is we're getting ready to go on to our last commercial break before our final section, in which we're going to be talking about more stuff Marvel,
more number ones,
and what's been going on with the fall of the X-Men. Let's see if they hit the ground yet. So stay tuned.
Did you know that every experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out. Twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code.
Ask your local comic shop to add Battle Quest comics to your pull list today. Comic Collectibles is a pretty straightforward show. You got Rex here, he sells the comics, and you got Rockin' Robbie, he knows about the comics. And finally, John, well, no one really knows what John does. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great guy, but he just keeps showing up. Come to think of it, I don't even really know how he gets in here. Anyway, awesome comics, rare books, rarer signatures, slabbed books, and amazing cover sketches by Ken Hazer and others. Simple formula: you want the comics, you buy the comics. To sum up, Rex sells the comics, Robbie knows the comics, and John, who might possibly be a ghost. I mean, seriously, has anyone ever seen him show up or leave? Comic Collectibles with Rex and John, Mondays from 6 to 8 Eastern on The Experience. Comic Culture and Sales.
Welcome back, everyone. You are watching the Geek Chat on The Experience. I'm Rich.
I'm Dez.
And be sure to stay tuned, because after us at 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock Eastern, we will, or not we, the Sketch Up with Mog and Mel will be on. And tonight, their special guests are Tony Fleece and Trish Forstner. And Tony Fleece has Feral and Uncanny Valley comics coming out. We're going to be reviewing Feral next week. And he is also known for Stray Dogs, which was a popular comic book series as well. I'm excited for Feral.
Mm-hmm.
He does, talking animals. It's fun. So he'll be the guest tonight. Wow, we had 2 number ones, and one is a little misleading, but I like the title. And the other one is basically just the next issue of an X book renamed, because they need the name. So the first book up we're going to review is Web of Spider-Man.
Number 1. But it's not just one number 1.
I ended up getting a different cover. I needed to get this cover.
Okay.
It is, I'll tell you by who. Oh my God.
By
Where are there's, yes.
They're at the back.
Okay. So
Wolf is right.
We'll just go through this quick. Zeb Wells was the writer, Cody Ziegler, Steve Fox, Stephanie Phillips, Greg Wiseman from Gargoyles, and Alex Segura were all writers in this.
You say Steve Fox already?
Yep.
Okay.
John Romita Jr., Eleonora Carlini, Ig Guara, Ed McGuinness, Eric Gapster, Joey Vasquez, Greg Land, Salvador LaRocca. They were all the artists, and I don't know. So I'm not a Greg Land fan, so I wouldn't call him an artist, but it's in here. Scott Hanna, Arthur Helsley, Arif Prianto, Mark Farmer, Marcio Menez, Matt Mila, Jay Lindstein, Frank D'Amata, Edgar Delgado, and Guru FX. They were inkers and color artists. I just want to make sure everyone gets.
Oh, and VC's Travis Lanham lettered all of it.
Lettered all of it. Yes. So I wanted to make sure we got all those in. There are so many stories in this. They're short stories. You get Amazing Spider-Man. You get Miles Morales, Spider-Woman, Spider-Gwen, Chasm, Spectacular Spider-Men, Kane, and the Spider Society. This book is basically a what's coming up in 2024 that we're not going to give you a free Marvel previews. We're going to make you buy this book, and it was $8, and you are going to get a little introduction into everything that's coming on.
Yeah, some were better than others. That's number 1. And some were definitely longer than others. So overall, I thought it was fine. I thought it was just fine. If I was to give it a letter score, I would give it a solid B-. The reason
That's
being,
generous.
well, the reason being is because I'm a Spider-Man fan, first and foremost. And I think what this does much better than any of the Marvel voices or the DC summer specials or anything like that is this actually leads to something. These actually give you a snapshot of what to expect if you were to pick up any one of these titles that were listed.
Right.
And it was not churning over old ground. And that's what I liked about it. Because you were actually getting story. You got to see a little bit of what's coming up in Amazing Spider-Man with that run, because it takes place after what happened in Gang War, and you get to see that Spider-Man is messing with Tombstone, and Tombstone's gonna retaliate at some point. You get to see a little bit more of what's going on with Spectacular Spider-Man, and even a little bit of how, like the last episode, we were talking about the Spider-Gwen giant size and how it wasn't tied to the new Spider-Gwen and what's going on and blah, blah, blah. This answered some of that question and gave us a little bit more to think about. So again, I see why they did it, and I'm okay with it. I thought the artwork was fine. I thought the writing was fine. It was just a fine, solid story that says, hey, if you like Spider-Man and you want to know what's coming up, here you go.
Yeah.
The one thing about it that I thought was really kind of weird was the Spider Society. The last story had Miguel O'Hara, the Spider-Man 2099. There's so much going on with that character right now that I do not know where this takes place. I'm assuming it doesn't take place during what's going on with Steve Orlando's run, and it doesn't take place with what's going on with Peter David's run. So I'm assuming it's something separate. That's why it's called Spider Society. So maybe it's got to be a new title that's coming out. So there you go.
I loved seeing Salvador Larroca's art again. I have been a fan of his, and his rendering of Miguel was gorgeous, like everything he draws.
So Barlord says, with all the variants Marvel has introduced over the last year, I can't believe they couldn't craft some intros that would wow us with all the talent on that book. Agreed. Agreed. I thought the original Ryan Stegman looked okay, but I thought the background was very unimaginative with the giant spider web going behind him. I thought that could have been a little bit better done. But yeah, for $7.99, I thought it was okay. It didn't really feel like it read forever, and I think that's a good testament of a book of this size.
Yeah. Well, it made me happy because I actually have been following Chasm since he was introduced, and since he's been in Maddie's Limbo Embassy. So I have also read the Hallows Eve one-shots where she tries to break him out. I'm invested in those characters, and we already saw in last week's comic books the advertisements that they're going to try to kill Peter again. I'm like, okay, let's rehash this up. But it was nice to see them. It was really nice to see Kane. I loved Kane. Yeah. I loved the Scarlet Spider when that book was out. So I was happy to see the future, that they're not just forgotten.
Yeah.
That's what I liked. I don't know if what they showed me about Miles is really going to make me read Miles.
Probably not.
I probably don't care about that. And I probably will not. I know you were really interested in the Spider-Gwen from the other week, but I'm not really. But
I thought the artwork was great. I really want to, I'm really kind of happy with Spider-Gwen, and I was really kind of happy with Spider-Woman, her coming back to San Francisco.
Yes.
And introducing an Avenger style in San Francisco, being from the Bay Area, I think that's very interesting. To see how they're gonna, whenever you see your city rep, you got to check it out and be like, oh hey, that was cool. And then maybe they won't destroy it like they did Fresno.
So if you, like he said, if you want to know what's going on with the Spider-Verse, not the Spider-Verse, the Spider-Verse show, the Spider-Verse as a whole in Marvel, pick this book up. It's $8 and you'll find out everything with some, pretty good art and some lackluster art. Do you want to skip the Iron Man just to get to the last two books?
The only reason why I want to talk about Invincible Iron Man is because the whole thing was a blow-by-blow battle of giant mechs with between Tony and Fei Long. And the one thing that I did not enjoy about it was that there was nothing else going on in the book. There was no other side stories or anything. It was a contained story of him versus Fei Long. It was by Jerry Duggan was the writer. The penciler was Chris Lee, and the inker was Walden Wong, and the color artist was Brian Valenza, and the letter was VC's Joe Caramanga. And it was just like it was just basically Iron Man narrating everything that was happening in the book. So I don't like when they do that. Let's do something else. Have him taunting, Fei Long a little bit more. It was just a lot of talking with the battle going on, and I thought a lot of the talking was a bit distracting because he was literally just telling the reader what's going on.
Yeah.
It was a lot of telling and showing, but I think a lot of the telling overdid some of the showing. I thought the artwork was fine, but
how did you feel about the panel layouts where there's just one giant page? Like,
oh yeah,
there's
they were all splash pages.
Old, they're all splash pages.
Yeah, it was all splash pages. I was all kind of like, okay. It really seemed like it seemed like it was over so quickly, and I was just like, okay,
because you only had one page to look at.
Yeah. So
and yes, Barlord, it felt so. After I was done reading it, I was like, nothing happened in this. Like,
yeah, exactly. Barlord, you're right. It was a filler issue. It literally was like, it really felt like Duggan was like, okay, I've been setting up these two to come to blows. I'm going to devote a whole issue to it, and you really didn't
work.
I could have had a little bit of something else going on, maybe something going on with the X-Men. Like this one right here, the only reason why it has the Tide of Fall of the X-Men is because of the Sentinels and the Iron Man armor together. But even then, it was just kind of like, okay. So I was very surprised when it was over as quickly as it was. So it just didn't feel like a full issue or a complete issue.
No, it did not.
I don't know. It didn't feel like it was worth the money that I spent for it.
Nope. So. Next up.
Okay. So Resurrection of Magneto. And I was right. It's the Shadow King.
Yep. And we learned that the Shadow King is not just Farouk.
No.
He is a prime. He's been in the pantheon of shadow.
There's a bunch of shadow creatures.
He's which includes the Adversary, which I don't know if many of you remember. The Adversary was Forge's. Oh
my God! You brought up the Adversary. I haven't thought about him in forever.
But he's in the book.
I know, but that's why I was like, that's what when they brought it up, I was like, wow.
Yeah,
it took me back. So again, this is someone who knows the mythology and is really like throwing it at us. I think that's the main thing about this whole series is let's explore Magneto and
Storm
and really hit the nostalgia hard, but at the same time show how much these characters have grown. So
and
I really believe
on
that
their stories.
Exactly. I believe that Resurrection of Magneto is a character story first. And if you do not like character stories, and I'm talking about people like really like
an in-depth look.
Yeah, like very existential thought processes of like who am I? Like, am I only my sins? Am I only this and stuff like that? It's a lot of kind of like higher level writing in a comic book type of situation, but the way that it's been done is not so the language is not so overbearing as to make anyone feel stupid,
right?
But it's enough to have people feel some kind of emotional way about each of these characters. And the Shadow King was great because the Shadow King separated them off and attacked them both separately, and it used their specific weaknesses against them. Storm's being super proud, about who she is and doing everything. And then Magneto's, his anger his anger. So it's basically two sins, pride and anger, and then the end when they come together to say that and overcome it was just really good. Really a strong issue. Because like again, I ask like, what are these? Like sometimes I ask, what are these comics here for? And this one was here to really have have these two characters laid bare before they spring back into action.
So it was written by Al Ewing. Luciano Vecchio was the artist. Again, I can't say enough about the art in this book.
It's really good.
David Curiel and Jesus Abertov were the color artists. VC's Joe Sabino did the lettering. And that cover is by another amazing artist, Stefano Caselli.
So good.
So good. So good. This book and the way Storm was fighting her demons, and to Magneto, it was a chessboard. So he's watching her as the Shadow King is trying desperately to throw him off by becoming different versions of Charles. And then Magneto seeing the anger that he was. And I read this last week and then watched the X-Men 97 yesterday, and the parallels of the anger and the speech that Magneto gives at the end of X-Men 97.
Fantastic.
They mimic each other in this weird, beautiful way of when the writer for the X-Men 97 wrote this, he pulled from his experiences as a gay black man and as a fan of the X-Men, because we've heard this said before over and over by Magneto, by Professor X, about living together, humanity coming together. And in this, he realizes, in the comic book, he realizes that his anger is present and he needs to use that, but he needs to use that because it's who he is, not so much be ashamed of the anger of who he was. And then they did that on the comic book or in the cartoon too. And I was just like, I've always loved Magneto because of who he is and what he's gone through and how he's used his powers. It's the same as why I love Mystique. She's fighting for the good of her people. And we see it as evil, but she sees it as trying to save her people. And that's what Magneto did in this. And I just, like Des said, this is a great character piece on both Storm and Magneto. And when Magneto walks out,
and gets reformed, that was a cool scene.
Men call me Magneto. He is embracing it. He needs to join the fight. I am excited. I don't know in what book. Like, the books are so screwed up right now. I have no clue where Magneto and Storm are going to show up for their battle.
Probably Forever X-Men.
Maybe. You want to talk about that next? Are we done with Resurrection?
Well, no, I want to talk about one other thing.
Yeah.
Is there's one more issue coming out, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So in the first issue, she told him what was going on and what happened. So he should be already up to speed with that. Now It's about bringing him back in to the fold and them getting into the fight. And I wonder what that's going to look like, or how they're going to end it. And I really hope that he gets a new costume. I hope it's not the white one. I hope it's not the black one or the dark purple one that he's wearing now. I hope it's a new iteration of that classic red and purple one that he had before.
Same.
I think it's something like that. Or you never know. He might get injured and be in a chair like Charles. I hope they don't do that. That'll be annoying. But
well, you did mention that he was in that floating chair in the promo.
So we'll see. But great issue. Great story so far. I want to know how they're going to end it. I'm invested. I want to see how it ends. And that leads us on to X-Men Forever #1. Wow. Let's get over the credits of who did what before we tear into this book.
All right. So Kieran Gillen was the writer. Luca Maresca was the artist. Federico Blee was the color artist. VC's Clayton Cowles did the lettering. And that cover, we talked about him earlier in the show. Mark Brooks did that cover. He's on Twitter. He was posting his last covers that he's been doing. He's quite sad it's ending. So I hope they continue on, maybe letting him do some variants.
He's been great.
Yeah.
So I really hope that they do too. He's been a great cover artist. It would be foolish of them to not let him do more covers.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, his wraparounds were amazing. Like his gatefold covers that are the wraparounds with all the different people.
Mhm.
They're great. But
So
okay.
this issue, we get some answers to questions that we've been asking for the last couple of weeks. We also get this week's Marvel, what would I call it? Stunt. The images on the cover happens nowhere in the story.
It's pulling these stunts.
While we're used to the images on covers not being in the story, this sent the wrong message for the weeks that we had the image and how to order. And as a retailer, this is the type of stunt I don't like. A cover should make you want to buy it 100%. When you walk in, you should be like, oh my God, why is Jean Grey in a Blood of the Phoenix? And I read it and then I don't find anything out. I'd be like, I want my money back.
No, it's just a recap of what happened in Immortal X-Men.
Yeah. Which
this was
why
literally
this is just Immortal X-Men number whatever.
Yeah, it really felt like a, last time on X-Men, or
previously
that we neglected to tell you. So all this book did was fill in parts that they were writing and probably were like, oh, they'll think we're cool because we're just gonna say we'll just write about it later. Like this number one just embodies the we'll fix it in post kind of mentality of Marvel right now, throwing stuff at the wall. Like literally everything, almost every other page was like, see what's happening with Rachel's team, see what's going on here, see what's going on there. Like it literally was used to fill in plot holes for House of X or Fall of House of X, all those other books. It literally is that. This tells us why there are two Mother Righteouses and what happened with it. It tells us, how they captured her. It tells us, how they started X. It tells us what's going on with Doug, which I thought was a really kind of cool thing, as now we know that Doug, Professor X, has been purged of the Diamond Sinister's influence and was put into a clone body of Doug.
And now we know why Doug in that issue of whatever the Fall had the diamond as well. Yeah,
it was acting all weird because he's actually all
Sinister.
Diamond Sinister now. Yeah. He's the Diamond Sinister and he's working along with Professor X. So which I said in the last week's episode that I thought that the reason why Prisoner X was Professor X, it's not Professor X. I think Prisoner X is Doug or this version of X, or is Professor X for whatever he does at the end of these stories.
Yes, because Sinister Doug says she doesn't know the truth, meaning Rachel. Rachel says you're planning on resurrecting the Phoenix. She flat out asks the professor, and Doug's like, you're not telling her the truth. She's not going to like it. And he says, no, she won't. If we live, I'll live with that.
Yeah.
So again, I'm thinking that the Xavier will be locked up in the mansion for what he has done.
Or the Professor X is going to kill the Phoenix, and by doing so, kill the Enigma. Or like I said, they're going to lock the Phoenix Force away, and with the Enigma and trap it in the white hot room. And Jean or whatever is going to get pissed, and they're going to lock him up for doing that.
Something.
I believe that's unless they kill Moria or do something like that. I think that's one of the only ways that they can get rid of the Enigma, is to trap it somewhere outside of time and space where it can't do any harm. And they've already set that up with the white hot room. So that just, for me, seems like the most logical way to end this. Although it's X-Men and they don't deal with that. So who knows? It might be a space worm that eats Enigma, and it's a space worm from Maggot.
Maggot is now a giant space worm.
He's a herald of Galactus.
Okay, that's funny. Not going to happen. So
I hate you so much sometimes. Just stomping on my dreams.
Stomp. So thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah.
We got some good books for next week as well. Again, stay tuned for Sketch Up with Mog and Mel. They are on at 7:00 Pacific, 10:00 Eastern.
Yes, stay tuned for them. Stay tuned for all of the Friday stuff. So just leave your computers on and keep it tuned to the experience. And again, I want to say thank you to everyone who took the time to ask us questions, to have dialogue with us. We really, really like that. Please tell your friends, tell your family members to like, share, and subscribe to the experience on all the different platforms that you use. I know all of you use a ton of platforms. I know I see some of you on Thread. Definitely tell your friends and help us grow the Geek Chat, and by proxy the experience. Thank you everyone. It was a great show. We always love doing this. Again, we do this just to hang out with y'all and talk about comic books. We love them, and we really hope that they will be here forever.
Yes, and I want to say in our intro, the drawings that you see of us as various characters, that was done by Gene Gilmet
of RLT Press.
Yeah, from RLT Press.
Check it out.
I forgot. Is that what he is on Twitter?
Yeah, RLT Press. He's working on a new RPG called Just Another Apocalypse. So if you're if you're a tabletop RPG player, he has a really fantastic. Fantastic tabletop RPG that he's working on.
Thank you for putting that up. That is where you can find him.
Experience. So, that's our time. We're out of here. Can't wait to see you next time. Same geeky time, same geeky channel on both Eastern and Pacific. So check us out then.
Bye everyone.